Jazz is fun, jazz fun at Jazzahead 2025. We are here with Götz Bühler, the artistic director of Jazzahead. And Götz, how are you feeling?
I'm fine. I'm really happy. I'm happy this is coming together and this is finally happening. I mean, we only worked on this for a year, so to have it actually be a reality is wonderful.
Götz, you just took over the artistic direction of the Jazzahead last year, and we saw you here with Peter Schulze, who did that for a long time. How much new and fresh thoughts did you bring with you, and what has changed?
The music keeps changing. I think that's one of the things I can definitely say, that as jazz is in flux, Jazzahead is in flux. None of the things that are perceived as visible changes are as intentional as they're perceived. I think some of the things that we did inventing this focus theme on a certain region, as you know, these 3 years Jazz from Africa, that's something new we've done. We didn't have this sort of a focus before. This is our first Reconnect edition, but in all honesty, I don't think this would not have happened if the two of them would have stayed on. It's just a natural evolution of this Jazzahead, because we're trying to open up the market and the jazz field as much as we can, to bring in as many new voices that we feel need to be heard. So I think it's really a natural progression rather than something of, oh, this needed to change and finally we have the time. No. I was very honored to be given the chance to take over from Uli Beckerhoff and Peter Schulze, who both trusted in me along with Sibylle Kornitschki to do this job, and we have a very friendly relationship. So there's no reason to think that let's say I hope that I'm working sort of on their behalf and, you know, sort of keeping their legacy alive.
Legacy sounds big.
It's 19 years. It's 18 years that they worked on Jazzahead. They really, built this little flower into a blossom that's now spread so far and wide. We had our grand opening yesterday in the part of the Messe Bremen that was the original Jazzahead, and I remember being there for the very first Jazzahead, and it's just no comparison to what is going on now. And Hans-Peter Schneider, the head of the Messe Bremen, said that it was really also a practical decision. Let's try this out. Car lovers have their trade fair. People who sell kitchen accessory have their trade fair. So why not have the jazz world have their own trade fair? And he was very practical about it and said, if this works, if it grows, fine, we have something here. And it is. It's the world's largest event of this kind. There have been attempts at doing something similar, and for whatever reason, they haven't worked. And I think one of the reasons is this legacy, is the fact that this has been built up over such a long time with a lot of endurance, with a lot of persistency, and with a lot of strength and love for this music.
The Jazzahead is a showcase festival. It's a club festival. There's a lot of stuff going on concerning panels, networking, and so on. Who's your team?
We have a rather large team that is working all year round on Jazzahead, and as you mentioned, we have people that are whose main objective is to organize and work on the club night, which is this event on Friday evenings, 85 concerts this year all around the clubs of Bremen. We have people who mainly work for the trade fair, trying to make sure that everyone has their booths in place and knows where they are and how much space they need. And we also have people who are only working on the conference program. So right now I have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think we're about 10 who are working on Jazzahead all year round, making sure that the next edition will be as much fun as the last.
If you look at this vast field called jazz, I mean, it's going on worldwide, and
you're not going to ask me what jazz is, are you?
I'm not going to ask you that, no. But if you just start to plan this event, and you want to find out about new bands, new people, and you have a focus and you have a plan, of course, but how would you just find those acts that are performing here?
Well, that's rather simple, actually, because we have an application program. So the bands that are playing have been selected by juries from the 600, 700, 800 bands, depending on the year, who have applied for showcases. And they're then sort of divided up into certain areas, as whether they're from overseas, whether they're from a partner country or partner region, as this year, whether they're from Germany. So it's a really wide field, whether they're also from Europe. And then the juries get a selection of those bands, and they make the program. We make the program. I have the pleasure of being on all these juries, also with a voice, and which is needed because one jury doesn't know what the other is doing. So in order to not only have bass playing leaders or piano trios, we make sure that there's someone has sort of an overview of what else is going on.
So it means that the Jazzahead is so well known that people from all over the world kind of apply here. I mean, I've seen in this program this year people from Kenya, from Mexico. I mean, jazz in Mexico. You see them from all over the place, and they are performing here now in these 3-4 days. And how much is it that you have to travel the world also to be just on the updated and like that?
Well, I love to travel, so that's the easy part. I think it's also down to the jurors and the juries, because we're sometimes, especially in the jury meetings, you will have someone and there will be a discourse on whether or not this band should play this year, and then someone says, well, I just heard them live and it's nothing like what you're hearing here. It's a totally different experience. Trust me, this will be exceptional. Or the video that the band sent in does not really reflect what they're doing. It's sort of sometimes it's very hard to do these applications. You only get one chance. You have to send in pictures, video, music, of course, a bio, all these things. And sometimes, like, who is this going to? Who is going to be the one that is looking at this, listening to this? What are they listening for? What are they looking for? And you may be spot on, but you may also think, this video is not filmed so well and the sound is kind of off, so let's not send them that. But we have this very slick production with 5 cameras, and then you go like, well, really nice, but sort of boring. But there's this someone, filmed it on their phone, and that was a real live concert, and that was the energy we're looking for. So to answer your question, I don't have to travel the world to see all of these bands. I was really, really glad and happy to see many of the bands that are playing showcases this year before. But that was, I wanted to say by coincidence, but it was due to also to the fact that they were ready. You mentioned Lucia from Mexico, this wonderful singer who's now living in New York, who's won awards there, who's part of the New York scene, but comes from a little village in Veracruz. And wow, I mean, she has this amazing voice. And this was something where I was not aware of her at all before she sent in her application. And then I spoke to some people, or I researched a little bit, and I said, well, she's been at Jazz at Lincoln Center. She's a part of that scene. She's, you know, she has an album coming out that's produced by this person that has very interesting choices of song material. And then I got to see her live in New York too. So
it seems as if one can't escape from jazz, at least in these days here in Bremen at Jazzahead. But Götz, if you have something that you really want to say from the bottom of your heart now about what's going on, what would it be?
Listen to more jazz and don't forget the fun in jazz. I think it's really important to reach deep into yourself and to let this music touch you, to find ways to open yourself to this music. And as soon as you do that, you're lost, and at the same time, you have nothing more to lose.
Götz Bühler, thank you very much. And that's jazz fun.
When I sat down